Hi everybody, Elsa coming to you. It's still June 13th, Saturday morning. I just completed my hive inspection, took a shower, put on some makeup, not so stinky anymore. And I was thinking that, I had promised we would talk a little bit about the flow hive, that maybe I would do a quick video about equipment. With the disclaimer that I've only been at this for 2 months, but I feel like I've learned a lot, and if this can help somebody who is 2 months behind me get a head start, maybe save a little bit of money, that would be a good idea. So as you can see, chaos and mischief are behind me, checking out what we're up to. But let's just talk a little bit about equipment first. So I'm not going to lie, I did not do a lot of research before I went into this beekeeping foray. My daughter showed me the flow hive. I thought, wow, that's so cool. I'm going to order it. I paid for it. It is a lot of money. I had a little extra spending money and I splurged and I bought it as a treat for myself. In retrospect, I think I would do things a little bit differently. For sure, I would research it, but I'll show you a little bit about what I mean. I think you can have a flow hive without having to pay as much money, and still, because my dad was an inventor and he was always getting his ideas ripped off, I'm a little bit sensitive to that fact, and I want to make sure that we support people that are coming up with new and innovative ideas. But I think I have a way that I can do that and also not kill my pocketbook, so we'll talk about that. But first, let's talk a little bit about equipment, basic equipment, regardless of what type of hive you get, and then we'll go over and talk about the hive. So I have laid out here my bee suit and a few other things that you may or may not need when you're getting started. A little bit about the bee suit. As I said in an earlier video, I am terrified of bees, or I was terrified of bees. I'm not anymore. So I got the full suit. So I got it online. This particular veil is a full hooded telescoping sort of veil. And it goes all the way to the bottom. It has zippers down there for the ankles so you can get a really tight seal. It has really good zippers, and then every zipper where it joins has Velcro flaps, so there's just no way a bee can get under your suit. So I like it. It's not super hot, and we are in Texas, and so heat is a factor. But in retrospect now, I think that I'm more comfortable with the bees. I will not probably buy another bee suit. I will probably just buy a bee jacket with veil. Truthfully, the bees are never on your legs or your body if you're doing everything correctly. I'm sure I'm going to end up regretting that comment sometime in the future, but I just think that it's maybe a little overkill at this point. Next up are your gloves. These are goatskin gloves, and they go all the way up. When I first got them, my husband Curtis and I argued about whether or not you put the canvas wrist part over your suit or under your suit. And just to clarify for everybody, they go over. If you've been watching my videos, you've probably been noticing I'm trying not to wear them as much. I'm trying to get a little bit more confident working around the bees without gloves on. A lot of beekeepers do that. Some beekeepers work in shorts and t-shirts. I'm not that brave yet, but I have made a conscious effort to get more comfortable around the bees. It just makes it easier handling the frames without the gloves on. And then I also learned recently the hard way that if you want bees to move off of a frame, you can't see what they're on top of. The best way to do it is to take your hand and just pat lightly on top of the bees. And it's really difficult to do that with a glove on. So I've been practicing doing that, and it works really well. Note to self, don't blow on bees. It makes them angry. The next tool we have that I use a lot is the hive tool. If you go online, you can find they're fairly cheap. You can use this blade here to scrape off wax. To get your frames up, you can actually put this under your frame and then pivot it up to lift it up to get it off of the hive body a little bit before you pick it up. So I have no idea what this is for. I'm sure somebody online will tell me what it is for, but I don't know what it is for. But super useful, a must-have piece of equipment. Then last but not least is your smoker. This is a bellows smoker with a grill on the side there so I don't burn myself. I'm really glad I have that grill, because I'm not going to lie, I've picked up the smoker a couple of times and just not even thought about it and burnt through the bottom of my gloves, and it was not fun. So the bottom does not have a grill, and that's where I've been burning myself. But I'm glad that there is a smoker. I have seen lots and lots of discussion online about smokers. This medium one is just fine. I'm very slow, and it lasts for the full inspection, and I pull almost every frame right now, which probably is a very bad idea. But somebody said the one time you don't light your smoker because you're feeling confident and feeling cocky around the bees is the one time they're going to light you up. And I have remembered that, so I always make sure to light my smoker. And in the video earlier today, you probably could see I have a little trick for keeping that smoke cool. So if you didn't see it, go back there and take a look at it. I think it's pretty ingenious. Upcycling my lost socks. So this is the bee frames. You guys see me moving around in the beehives. They just hang from these bars right here at the end. And I'm not going to go into the reasons why you would or would not want to use foundationless, but just let you know this is foundationless frame. So the bees make their own wax on this, their own wax comb, and you've seen me pulling those, and those beautiful pictures of the basically teardrop shaped wax as they're building it out is on foundationless frames. You can also get frames with foundation built into them. The course that I took, they're kind of anti-foundation frames because, as you can see, the cells are all the same size. And why would that be a problem? Well, because drone cells are bigger. The boy cells are bigger, the worker girl cells are smaller. And the queen can determine what the hive or the colony wants them to build by the size of the cell. So if it's not the right size on the foundation, they will actually build kind of almost like a platform on top of this so that they can build the right size cell. So what you end up getting is sometimes comb that is, when you look at it this way, is very, very roly-poly, bumpy, and doesn't fit well in the hive. My nuke, so my starter set of bees, came on this foundation, and I still have frames in there on this foundation, but I'm trying really hard to rotate it out and get them to build on the foundationless frames. So get them to build on this. It just looks neater. A couple of beekeepers have told me that the queens like fresh comb better. I have noticed that the bees don't want to really build on this until there's absolutely no other option. And then other things I've seen online that you just need to be aware of is that this foundationless this foundation needs to be dipped and coated in beeswax. If it's just plastic without that dipping, they're not going to build on it. And I've seen a lot of posts where people are puzzled why their bees aren't building, and it's because the wax has not been dipped well enough. So I'm just sticking with these for now. The downside of these is that they're very fragile when the comb is built on them. You can't flip the frame around because the comb may just break right off, and then you've got angry bees on the ground and a crying beekeeper. So when you handle these, you have to handle them very carefully. There's courses online on how to flip these over and look at them without breaking the comb. So lastly, we're getting to a hot topic, and that is my flow hive and flow frames. And I'll just show you, this is what a flow frame looks like. So it just shoots down like this. And you can see it's got kind of like cells, but right now they're not in alignment. This sits in the hive just like they would any other frame. Actually, I got mine upside down. Sorry. Hold on. There, that looks better. So this sits in the flow frames sit in the hive just like this, and this is where the bees go up and store their honey, and you have a queen excluder on that prevents the queen from crawling up there and laying eggs in these cells. So we're going to go talk a little bit about flow hive. I think the concept is really good. I think honestly, I haven't harvested yet from it or actually put them in my hive, but I have seen a lot of stuff online, and I've seen a lot of comments where people say they either love them or hate them. And I do have a few thoughts about that. So let's pause for a moment, and we're going to go out to the hive and talk about the flow hive and how it's set up and how all of this works together.